Hey, so I want to talk to you guys about. I was inspired by a show, not to Mo. I don't think I said his last name right. But I was inspired by a show just to share with you guys a little bit about my story. Yeah, lately I'm just trying to learn how to embrace my emotions and just, how to just embrace my emotions and, just fully be myself. And I know a lot of people talk about balance between this, like yin and yang, balance, zen, and being a certain way. But I feel like life, yeah, you do have to have moments where you're disciplined and you, you choose what you want to do and you just stick to it. So yes, do give yourself a little bit discipline, but I do believe in like giving yourself a little leeway just to be free and just do life like based off your intuition. Because for me, my default mode is to be logical, to be stoic, to be somebody who only thinks in black and white. That's my default, and I'm learning how to let my emotions ebb and flow, like live life like wabi sabi, like just love the process, the whole process, the journey, and the cycle that just keeps going round and round. And just fully allowing my emotions to express and to be and to flow. And how I do that in my life is that when I'm experiencing something, for example, this past week, I went through so many changes, like rapid changes, and this entire year has been that, entire 2 years have been that. And I know for show, like, he can say, like, which I'm amazed by it, that he's vegan, he changed his life, by being vegan and really just growing, on Instagram and TikTok following to like 1 million, it's like amazing. But for me, it's great to have those things, but for me, I want to grow an audience that loves me for me. And it's not about how I look, it's not about what I eat, it's not about any of those things. Like, I want to emotionally connect with you on a deeper level. And yes, I can share with you all the healing modalities. I can share with you all these different things. And I'm not knocking on people who do those things, not you, show. But what I'm trying to say is that my goal in my life is to be as vulnerable as I can. And just share what I'm going through. Like, literally, I just want to share things. It's just factual. It's not emotionally connected, but right here, right now, it's emotionally like connected and just expressing my emotions. And I just say things how it is and how it went down in my perspective. And I'm not saying other people's perspectives of what went down is not true either. But I go very logical based when I do share information. So it's as objective as it possibly can, because I used to be a security guard. I used to do a lot of like logical things. My brain loves the mode of being a scientist, and that's my favorite subject is chemistry. So I'm very nerdy, I'm very matter of fact, and I would definitely say I'm on the autistic spectrum. I have not gotten formally tested. I want to get formally tested, but I definitely would say I am on the spectrum when you do meet me. And of course, there's other things going on with me too, but like so many things. But then I realized like it makes a lot of sense when I look back at my younger self, and also I'm just a highly sensitive person, empathetic. Fuck it. Who cares what I say? You'll experience me in real life when you experience me. If you want to get to know me, you can get to know me in real life, So whatever I say is whatever I say. Just like whatever people say is whatever people say. So like, and so it's like you never really know a person until you actually meet them, and until you actually get to know them. And an example of me just going by and just being authentically myself. And when I be authentically myself, people like think I'm crazy. People think you're not normal because you're not a stoic person. You're not masculine. You're not following your masculine side. You're not following the status quo of what we think normal is, what healthy is, what healer is, what this is, what that is. Like, if you looked at my birth chart, you would understand. Like, if I could show you what's on this thing called pattern, it makes sense. So much sense. Like, I am literally on a different timeline than everybody else, and it's crazy. And like, literally one of my patterns, according to my birth chart, is just being rebellious or inhibited. You know, like, you know, and like the balance between that is just like, you know, when people like really understand who I am, when people really just don't like, just let me be and just like love me and let me just express, you know, that's like when they get the gems, you know, like when you come into my life and you expect me to be a certain way and you're like, you need healing, boo. And I'm like, healing is a process. It never ends. Like, if you think there's an end zone at healing, you need to go back and read your books. You need to read your Bible. No, I was kidding. But like, and like, you know, it's like, and if you think you're at the end goal when you reach your goals, you know, like, I've done this, I've done that, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, I grew from here to this, like, I find it so, to me, I can find the humor in it. And other people will be like, you're knocking on my success. I'm like, no, I'm capping on you because, you know, it's just like, you think you're all bad, you know, and you'll be like, well, what did you do? I can list off everything I've done to you, and you'll still be like, well, I've done that too, sweetie, like, even worse. And I'm like, okay, you think you're so bad? You think you're so bad? Well, I dated a schizophrenic. Can you do that? Have you lived with a schizophrenic? I was valedictorian at middle school, okay? I got straight A's for fun, because I love education. Are you that insane? Golly, she was a goose. And so it's like, you know? And so it's like, you know, people are like, I want to hang out with normal people. I want to hang out with happy people. And like, I don't like toxic positivity, boo. Be real. You know, tell me what you've been through. Tell me what happened, you know? Ask me about what I've been through. Don't just yammer about yourself. Like, it's not a one-sided relationship. Like, that ain't mutual. Like, if you don't like chocolate milk, I'm not dating you. If you don't like Naruto, get out of my life. I only date samurais and ninjas, okay? I guess show is okay. He ain't no Rain from Ninja Assassin. He looks like Rain from Ninja Assassin. But other than that, God, you was a cruise. You're seeing my side of myself, but it's like, yeah, there's ego, but the thing is, like, it's fun. If you can control your ego and, like, work with your ego, it's fun, you know? And it's like, to be like, no more ego, like, you're cutting out a part of yourself that's there to defend you. Use it as your defense, you know? Like, properly use it. Build your relationship with your ego, you know? Also build your relationship with your higher self. Build your relationship with your child self. Learn how to use them as family, friends, companionship, a tool, you know, not just a tool. Give it a name, and like, don't just call it ego. Like, call it, you know, like how Beyonce has what's her name? Sasha, Sasha? Is it Sasha? I can't say it, whatever, you know, Sasha. And she has, you know, Sasha Fierce, you know? That's her ego, you know? Like, use your ego to the tool. You can be Beyonce, you can be Sasha Fierce, you know? And so it's like, use Sasha Fierce to your advantage, you know? When someone comes out with you ego, yeah, you can be all love, you can be Buddha, you can be whatever, but even like, you know, unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance, is what I said. What my friend said. Thankfully, she said it. I thought that was beautiful. And so, like, you know, unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. Even Jesus was like, flipped a table in a synagogue because people were exchanging of money or whatever. Whatever technicality you want to give, because, you know, whatever. I'll just say gambling, because I like saying the word gambling. Basically, they were just like gambling inside the synagogue, gambling inside the temple. You can look into all the details you want. It's probably not gambling. Whatever it was money exchange. Whatever you want to be technicality with, you religious folks. Okay? So, it was wrong. Either one is wrong inside the freaking temple. Okay? So shut up, all y'all on Facebook. Like, you just wasting your time. You don't get the point. The point is, they were doing something wrong in the temple. Jesus was fierce, and he got them to get out of the temple because basically they were doing something wrong in his father's house. Imagine if someone who was your friend, brother, sister, family member, let's say they're having sex on your parents' bed. Will you be nice to them and say, I would please like you to get out of my parents' bed? I would please like you to leave my house. No, you would tell them, get the fuck out of my house. You would tell them, get the fuck out of my house. Not my house. You're having sex on my parents' bed. Get the fuck out. You would be fierce, would you not? Or would you be kind and nice to them? No, you would not. If they're a toxic person, out. You know that is wrong. And you had sex on my parents' bed. That is total disrespect. Get out. And that's what Jesus did in the synagogue. He flipped a table because these people were trying to lend money, gamble money, whatever. Like, I say it's gambling. Like, freaking, like, people giving people, like, money. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you money, but then you owe me that money back. Like, yeah, you're, like, doing all this shit, wasting money to giving people, like, just exchanging of money. This is not where you do that. You don't do that in a temple. You don't do that in my father's house. You're total disrespect, and you know the law. You know what this is. You know this is a holy ground. And you're playing games right now. You are playing games. Get out of my father's temple. And that's... Just look up Jesus flips table in a freaking temple. And you'll find the freaking story. Read the entire context. And it's amazing, when people think that these religious figures are just basically pushovers. Like, no. No. There's even, like, when you look into Buddhism, there is, like, a Buddha that holds, like, a sword. I'm like, I never seen that image before, I'm like, there is a Buddha that holds a sword, type of thing. And it's like, I know there's more to it. I don't know the details, like the religious symbolism behind that specific Buddha, but I found that fascinating because usually people have the laughing Buddha, the big fat chubby dude, or they have the idea of Mahatma Gandhi. They have the idea of Dalai Lama. But it's like, when there's war, what happens in Buddhism? Like, when they're, what do? Do they just run? Or, like, do they fight to keep their land, type of thing? Or do they, like, I know there's different types of Buddhism, and there's different types of ideas of what you do in those situations, and I find it fascinating. And so it's like, people have this idea that, they paint things in one way, and they don't look at other ways, and I love the samurai way, like, in Japan, because it's, like, it's so disciplined, it's so beautiful, so zen, and, they think ahead, they really, like, analyze what's going on. Like, just look at Bruce Lee and, like, how he fights, he's not a samurai, but, he's a warrior, and, like, the whole, like, mindset for that is amazing, and I appreciate that, and I tend to love living life like, I love the quote, life is like a game of chess, because you know how you work, and you have to think 20 steps ahead of your opponent, 20 steps ahead of whatever choice you're making, 20 steps ahead, and more, some, if you can even do possible even more than that. And you know how you work, so you're your tool, and all you have to do is, like, try to understand the energy of the other person, how they work, and you know yourself. And if you know yourself, you're already halfway there. They don't know you. Don't give them all your cards. Poker, like, give them a little bit of this, a little bit of that, see how they react, There's so many different ways of how to fight your opponent. There's so many different ways of making friends, and it's like, can you see 20 steps ahead, really listen and understand who they are, because if you're not giving them any information, and then you're choosy on what information you give them, and you see how they react to it, it's very interesting, because it's like, if you put out a certain side of yourself, you just be. You just exist, you just observe, and you let them do what they want to do. You see how they truly treat you, you know, because it's very fascinating. Like, do they get to know you? Do they hang out with you? Do they enjoy you? Do they express themselves freely around you, or do they just hide themselves away from you, or do they push you to do things you don't want to do, and they just assume on who you are? And it's just like all these things you can find out by just being like, I just accept you and love you as who you are. You know, it's like just being unconditional love and being childlike. You know, you can just see who people are, and it's very fascinating and intriguing, and you can experience so much in life and give as much as they give you is what I've had to learn. You know, don't overgive, don't undergive, just give them exactly what they give you. It's as simple as that. And whatever they give you, just reflect back. And they don't like it, then that means there's something they don't like about themselves, because that's exactly what they gave you. But if they're giving you love, you can see they're really working on themselves, and they're really like explaining and being like trying to understand, they understand themselves, and they're trying to understand themselves better, and you see that, you're like, this is a genuine person. Like, this person, like, you know, this person is being themselves, and this person is honest about themselves, and this person is actually curious to know about things, and this person isn't shoving shit down your throat and saying, do this, do that, because, you know, they want money and they want you to have money too. You know, it's like, well, what if I don't want money? Did you think about that? Like, I'm shoving these down my throat that I don't fully understand because you just want to give it to me. Like, this is not China where you shove down things down my throat when I walk by your store in the freaking mall. Like, I don't want your samples. I don't want your samples. I'm not hungry. I don't want to buy your cheap ass jewelry. Go away. But yeah. Yeah. I'm very, very happy. So many great things have happened throughout this challenging week, and it was a challenge, and that challenge gave me a gift, and that gift is gonna take me on journeys, and journeys that I've always wanted, and so many things lined up, even though, yeah, I was just like, what is going on? Why is this going on? I know it's gonna work out for my good, and it did, and I'm happy, and I'm totally fine with not dating anyone. I just want to be single for a long, long time, and that's all I want. I like the beauty of people. I like the anesthetics, or aesthetics, whatever you want. Yeah, anesthesia. Show is Mr. Show. You are my anesthesia. But like, is this me flirting? Yeah, I'm flirting. But I just want to be friends, and that's all I want. Like, I am genuinely just like excited for new people and knowing about new people, and I just want to have time to myself, to grow myself, and to just be as authentic as possible and see who connects with me and I connect with them. I'm sorry, show, you're my new current little obsession, parasocial relationship. I'm sorry. Sorry, I have to, sorry. 미안해요. I don't know how to say sorry in Japanese, but I know in Korean. And so like, no, arigato means goodbye. No, sayonara means goodbye. Arigato means thank you. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Da 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 da. But today I will read you an excerpt from Rainer Maria Rauch's Letters to a Young Poet. Much time has gone by since I received your last letter. Do not hold that against me. First, it was work, then interruptions, and finally, a poor state of health that again and again kept me from the answer, which, so I wanted it, was to come to you out of my quiet and good days. Now I feel somewhat better again. The opening of spring, with its mean, fitful changes, was very trying here too, and I welcome to greet you, Mr. Capus, and to tell you one thing and another in reply to your letter as well as I know how. It was a pleasure to me to read this sonnet and your letter often. I thank you for both. And should you not let yourself be confused in your solitude by the fact there is something in you that wants to break out of it, this very wish will help you if you use it quietly and deliberately and like a tool to spread out your solitude over a wide country. People have, with the help of conventions, orientated all their solutions toward the easy and toward the easiest side of the easy. Sure, it is clear that we must hold to what is difficult. Everything alive holds to it. Everything in nature grows and defends itself in its own way, and is characteristically and spontaneously itself. Seeks at all costs to be so, and against all opposition. We know little, but that we must hold to what is difficult is a certainty that will not forsake us. It is good to be solitary, for solitude is difficult, and that something is difficult must be a reason for more for us to do it. To love is good too, love being difficult. For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all our tasks, the ultimate, the last test, and proof, the work for which all other work is but preparation. For this reason, young people, who are beginners in everything, cannot yet know love. They have to learn it with their whole being, with all their forces gathered close about their lonely, timid, upward beating heart. They must learn to love. And that was a snippet of Rainer Maria Rauch's Letters to a Young Poet. That is my favorite book ever, because he is an amazing writer, amazing poet, and I've always wanted to do poetry. One day I'll share some on this channel when I want to. Bada bing, bada boom. Let me know if there's anything you guys want me to share. Like my videos, subscribe. Boop, 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 bing.